Greetings, guys. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Monette, and this is my channel, Evolve with Monette. For those of you that are new here, I am a professional intuitive empath, and I am so grateful to share some energy with you today. I have a couple of things that have been on my mind, and what you need to know is that you are waking up. I had a powerful download about fairies earlier tonight, and it was such an incredible thing. And I want you to understand that the energy that this brings means that you are, in fact, waking up. My little fairy with beautiful wings. Now, what I mean by this, I'm going to get super specific. We're going to pull a few cards and we're going to talk about it, whatever that means for you. So this will be part reading, if you guys want to stick around, and part channeled message. We'll see what the angels do. But you're waking up. Let me give you a little background. I've been really guided to purge and clean so many things. My life, myself, my energy, my habits, just everything. Whatever doesn't serve me has to go. And so we are lovers of YouTube, and I am guilty of loving YouTube myself. So you know how you can have a watch later list? Well, my watch later list is filled. And I thought, that's crazy. I went to go save something and it said maximum list exceeded. And I thought, that's insane. So over the last several days, I have been, in any spare time in between clients, deleting. And unfortunately, they don't want you to delete everything because they don't want you to get out of the algorithm and the addiction of the connection. So you can't just hit delete everything at one time. Maybe you can from a laptop. I don't see it on the phone. If you do know a way to do it, please let me know below. That would save me a lot of time. But I have this habit of wanting to kind of go through everything. Yeah, it's not good, guys. That's the American way, right? We sift through our junk before we get rid of our junk to see if we want to keep the junk. So even on that list, I've been going through everything. And so I started with the oldest because I was like, and it's really interesting. It's a really interesting snapshot to see where your mind was at several years ago. Wow. One of the videos that I had saved for Watch Later was a video that I had... It's a video that I had saved to watch later 7 years ago. That's how long this list is, okay? I think the number of videos you can have is 5,000. And so, yeah. And so you know how it is. It's like you're watching something, you're like, I don't have time to watch this, so I'll just save it for later, right? And then you swear you're going to go back, and then you don't because there's something new that comes, or you do go back. Sometimes I do. Well, anyway, in the last week or so, like I said, last several days or so, I've been purging, because I'm like, I'm literally going to have to go through. And it was a very interesting spiritual lesson my angels are walking me through about be careful what you accumulate because we're going to hold you responsible to touch it again, to look at it again, and then to get rid of it. And so the next time you start accumulating, ask yourself, do I need this? In every way. So about people, about places, about things, about stuff. Because with some of my sign energy, I have a moon sign in Taurus, so that means that I like stuff. I collect things. And so my angels have been like, no, it's time to get lean and mean in every way. So I'm going through and I'm purging, and I come across this video, but I'm so struck by it. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. I will try to share it to my community page so that you guys can see it, but it's just breathtaking. And it is, I don't even know what the title of it is, but it's not an animatronic. It is this beautiful crystalline fairy that's waking up on a lily pad, and the lily pad starts to flutter and undulate, and she looks up, and her face is just this beautiful gem. There's no features, and she has wings, and the wings flutter, and there's a butterfly on a lotus, and the key that turns into this beautiful jewelry box-esque thing, and I believe it's actually a clock, but it's this art piece that was made and was put up 7 years ago because I researched it. And I'm going to tell you the interesting number first. So 777 is a very powerful number right now. We're 7777, so 7777. But the number 7 is very powerful and important for this channeling. I'll definitely have that in the description and the title. But what I want you to understand is that they made this thing 7 years ago, and it's this art piece. I think it was made back in 2016. And it's a fairy waking up on a lily pad. So we're going to talk about the spiritual significance of that. Well, I had put it in my watch box 7 years ago. It caught me. I love a blingy thing. I love a shiny thing. And so my angels knew that I would pay attention. But 7 years is a cycle where we completely regenerate all of our skin cells, or we become a whole new human. 7 years ago, my angels knew that I would be on the trajectory that I am currently. And fairy energy has become incredibly prominent to me. I have been attracted to fairies of all kinds, earth fairies and glitter fairies and cosmic fairies and oh god, sensual fairies. Like, I have had the most incredible wise I'm thinking of Erin Lyons, who carries a lot of fairy energy. She's a YouTuber and a content creator here, a Wall Street girly and Harvard grad, I do believe, who is tapping into this esoteric feminine science energy of the metaphysics, which is beautiful to see. And she's melanated and magic, but anything fairy, even those girls, I think they're called Flynabos. Hello Christ, I'm about to sin again. I said I love you to that man, but I'm not feeling him. And they're all about empowerment and boundaries and being okay being introverted and extroverted when need be. And we've seen them running through the streets on all of our socials. She wore fairy ears in the first time I ever saw her. It caught my eye. I might have liked the song, I might have liked the music, but something about that energy has been very much speaking to me. So tonight, this reading is going to be for the fairies, whatever that means to you. And I know that that may seem a little woo-woo, but here's what I've realized about the work that I do. As you ascend and as you access your Akashic records, different realms are open to you. And there was a time in my life when unicorn energy, this is a little unicorn soap, but unicorn energy was incredibly prominent to me, and it still is. But the fairy energy is so interesting. Now, here's the thing. 7 years ago, the reason that I probably put that in my watch later box was because it was pretty and glittery and it caught my eye. Tonight, when I opened it and I watched it, because I was like, oh, this is too good to just delete, because a lot of the things that I was going through, I was just deleting. I wasn't watching every single video that I had saved, because that's another thing about purging message. Sometimes you just have to throw something away. And so I wasn't watching every video that I had saved. But that one, I knew I was supposed to open intrinsically and spiritually. I knew I was supposed to open it. And it opens up and there are no words. Just some captions and a few words on the screen, but no one's talking. There's no voiceover to be heard. Just this beautiful fairy that's waking up on this lily pad to be seen. And it's just about a minute of magic. And then they do some other stuff to it towards the end, like they set the clock, and it apparently is a functioning thing. And my Taurus moon self, who is purging other stuff, went to research it because I wanted to see, could I purchase one? Well, it's this priceless piece of art, so no, I cannot purchase it. But I was like, I need one of these right now. It's so amazing. It's so magical. I will forever cherish it, right? But it wasn't about me being in possession of the physical thing. It was about the wisdom, the information, and the lesson that it did bring and that I'm supposed to bring to you. So let's talk about lily pads. Lily pads are actually technically considered an invasive species. Lily pads grow and they suck all of the energy out of what's underneath it because they need a lot of space to spread out, and they have this mass of roots and all of this tangle of things, and they will just have you ever seen a lily pad pond where it's just fully covered? That's what they do, is they spread out and they take up space. It's a powerful message to us divine feminines who have been afraid to take up space and who have been afraid to take our place. What grows out of a lily pad, and so beautifully done in this, is there's a lotus key that turns, and it initiates the awakening of the fairy. And on the lily pad is a lotus, several lotuses coming up and opening, just unfurling and opening so beautifully. And in between the lily pad, the lotus, is a beautiful butterfly that does emerge, and it flutters its gorgeous white jewel encrusted wings, and the fairy wakes up and turns her gemstone face to it and looks over as she takes in her surroundings and becomes aware that she is sentient. Who here has become aware that they are sentient? And when I saw this, I was just in awe of the intricacies of the universe. My angels and my spirit team and my ancestors attracted me to a sparkly thing many years ago, 7 years ago. And in the last year, I have been inundated with fairy energy, with people that have helped me grow, people that have helped me learn, people that have helped me learn all of the things about fairy. Because here's the thing about any archetype: there is a shadow and there is a light. And I am called to share and to write And so what I have learned by being up close with these fairies is how they operate in both dark and light. I've had such an incredible full immersion experience. But it's not just about observing, because what I've been channeling and downloaded with is that we all possess this fairy energy. I wore the closest thing to wings that I could today, though I know fairies that do it much better and they light up when they go out to play. But for me, I wanted to imbue and embody the energy of flutter and lightness and ethereal, right? Because that's something that we can be in our divine femininity. And it's something that we need. But here's the interesting thing about fairies, about you and about me. Fairy energy is mischievous and it can be tricky. Now you would say, Monette, like, what purpose does that serve? Well, think about that lily pad that is invasive, actually, as a species, that is not afraid to spread out its leaves and take up space. We have this ability to turn on our beauty and to turn on our light, to smile with gleaming teeth and be ever so bright. But we are cunning too. We know how to get something done. We know how to do what we want to do or not do what we don't want to do. And we know how to get our way. And when fairy energy comes into your life, you're learning a new way to play. Not to be a player in the masculine sense, but to enjoy the dance of life and to have reality bend. That's the magic of the fairy awakening, my friends. And so when I saw the fairy on that lily pad, as she's sitting under a mushroom here, this is so interesting because mushrooms too are their own ecosystem. They create their own spores. They literally create their own weather system and birth themselves into reality. They can grow in the most interesting conditions and come to be. You are being asked to tap into your internal creativity. If this resonates with you, you are operating in fairy energy, or fairy energy is communicating with you about new ways to get things done and also how to enjoy life. Because fairies play, but here's an interesting thing. Ooh, sting. Fairies sting too. Interesting thing to understand about you. But fairies don't stay long. Think about the nature of their fluttering wings and how they can float from thing to thing. You know, I had a friend recently say something to me about Tinkerbell and how she was a brat. And if you're watching, shout out to you. You didn't get it wrong, sis. She said Tinkerbell is such a stinking brat. You know, she doesn't get her way and she causes mischief and this and that. Now, we can all have a different view about Tinkerbell, but I haven't watched Peter Pan in a long time, so it didn't serve my memory well. It's so funny. I have a fairy friend that just is texting me, and the energy is felt. It's felt completely. So she was saying that Tinkerbell was a brat, and I thought, I'm going to have to go back and take a look at that. I'm going to have to go back and watch Peter Pan and remember, if I remember, the fullness of Tinkerbell. But without having done that research, what I will go on is her word, because she's actually very wise, and she really opened my eyes. There is this duality. There is this light and dark. There's a shadow and a light. There's Lilith energy, and then there's Eve. And somewhere in the middle, we get it right. So the fairy awakens, and that's what they want you to know. This energy of mischief, magic, glitter, beauty, femininity, and elusiveness does help you glow. Now, I don't want you to be elusive for the sake of just being so, but know that fairies know how to get out of anything or get into anything, whether they want you to understand or know or not. So that means that if you're in a sticky situation right now, you have the ability to escape it with grace. The fairy energy has alighted upon you and is helping you to face whatever may be a conundrum or a labyrinth where you feel like you can't escape. Fairy energy also is about tasting and seeing what's good. Think of the hummingbird. That would be the archetype, excuse me, the animal totem of the fairy. In the animal kingdom, it would be, the closest to it would be to me, is the hummingbird and butterflies, certainly. But the hummingbird, because what I love about that, and butterflies also eat pollen as well and do all of that, but there's the physical representation of dipping the beak. Sometimes you want to take a taste and see if something is sweet. That may be energy that people want to do with you, but there's something about moderation that you're being asked to work through.